Lauren, and I'm here to speak about my vision for the future if I woke up tomorrow and the world was fully accessible for people who have physical disabilities. So I had some slides prepared, but I kind of want to pick up on some of the points, so I'm going to throw that out the window a little bit. Yes, as you can see, I use a wheelchair to get around, and I have done since I was 2.5. So I'm quite a pro at navigating a world that wasn't really designed for people on wheels. And I also work with a large network of young disabled people who fight to remove the social barriers that exist in society. So we do a lot of campaigning on public transport. It is our go-to campaign because we view transport as the key, the glue in society. If it's not accessible, then you can't go out to study or to work or go out with your friends. So we really champion removing the barriers that exist in the transport infrastructure. But I'm going to talk a bit about me and be a bit self-indulgent. So I'm going to tell you a story quickly about when I came to London for the first time at age 10 for a typical hospital appointment. And we were walking down Oxford Street, and I saw a bus with a wheelchair sign. And at age 10, I was so excited because I grew up in a little village in Wales where we didn't have buses for a start in our village, and even if we did, they would not have a ramp. So I grabbed my parents and I was like, please, please, please let me get on a bus. And they thought I was crazy because they get buses a lot. And they thought, why on earth would you want to do this? But they let me. So the bus pulled up and we asked for the ramp. And the driver went, oh, I don't know how to use it, sorry, and then drove off. I'm like, okay, we'll wait for the next one, it's fine. And the second one came up, and the driver went, I've got a bad back today, sorry, can't do the ramp. So I was like, oh, it's a bit disappointing, but I was like, there's be a third one, third time lucky. And by this point, the commuters around the bus stop were thinking, oh, it's a bit weird, this kid can't get on the bus. So the third one came, and he said the ramp's broken again. So we thought, probably not getting on a bus today. But the fourth one came pretty quickly, and everyone at the bus stop said, before any excuse comes out your mouth, please let this kid on the bus. And he didn't. He closed the door and drove off, leaving every single person at the bus stop. So we thought, maybe a bus is not going to happen today. So we walked away. And I think it was about 10 years before I decided to try buses again, when I was out with my friends in my hometown of Cardiff, and I thought, well, it's either ring my parents and ask them to pick me up or attempt to get a bus. And it was fine. The ramp worked, the driver was very kind, he even let me get off near my house and not the mile way down the road, so that was really good. But that shows how far transport has already come, because now I can get around London pretty successfully. So that is a good story. Yes, I'm now going to talk about my vision for the future. So at the moment, I live in Croydon, and I commute into London every day for work via Southern Rail. So I have an interesting journey. Yes, you can all feel sorry for me later. So I get out of my house in the morning, and I think the new thing is the end-to-end journey has already been said. So for once, the pavements would not be full of potholes with massive, very steep drop curbs. They'd be all smooth, and there'd be room for a wheelchair user to go up them, and a buggy to go down the other side with no problems of trying to navigate around. And when I get to my local station, which is very, very small, it's 2 platforms with 1 member of staff, the doors would open automatically, and I wouldn't have to ram my chair through a door which isn't designed to open unless you can pull it. And I then get to the ticket barrier. And this is where I'd be a bit of a new thing, because at the moment, I can't really reach to tap on my Oyster because it's on the wrong side. I drive my right hand, so I need to tap on my left hand. So I have a very interesting maneuver which gets some very bizarre stairs where I go backwards through a barrier so I can tap on my left hand and then just drive backwards and do a little spin around when I get through. People do think I'm crazy, but it works, and it's the only way I can actually do it myself. But then this would be when the real amazing thing happens, and so the train would pull up onto the platform, and I wouldn't need a member of staff to come running out with the ramp. My local station is staffed by 3 very lovely ladies, but they hate me having to have the ramp every day, because every day at 7:30 I arrive, and they have to leave their nice warm office to get the ramp. So In my futuristic world, the train would pull up, the doors would open automatically, and I would just drive on, just like you would step on, all flat, no problems. I probably wouldn't get in the wheelchair space because it would be rather busy. I don't care. All I care about is I'm on the train just like every other single person. And then when we get to my final stop, I would just hop off the train, just like everyone else. Flat, easy peasy, no members of staff. And I go through the ticket barrier, hopefully all redesigned, easy to get through for wheelchair users, because the wheelchair wide gates are just not redesigned for people that actually have mobility issues. They're just like a standard gate with an extra bit of room on each side. So that'll be my commute in the morning, and I think what I take away from it is the fact that I am a typical commuter, and I don't really like dealing with people in the morning. I'd rather just have my headphones in and ignore the world until I get to work at 9 with my hot chocolate and wake up. But right now I can't do that, because right now I have to talk to about 6 different people: the ticket staff, the barrier staff, the person who gets the ramp, the person who gets the ramp at the other end. There's hundreds of people that I have to interact with and go through to try and attempt to get out my station in the morning. So that would be my commute, and it would be amazing to see Southern Rail actually disappear for a start, but that's fine, they can stay. But yeah, that is my commute. But there's obviously a lot more transport to talk about. And I think one of the things that we hear a lot from young people is the fact that they rely really heavily on buses because trains scare them, which I'm not surprised. So we have one young person who got a train at age 11, had a terrible experience, and didn't get another one until she was 25. So she lived in Swindon, and when she used to come into events in London, she would pay £400 for a round trip from Swindon to London in a taxi, which is horrifying that someone feels that they're so scared and that the journey is obviously going to go wrong that they pay £400 to get to an event because they really, really wanted to go. And it's amazing that she actually had that money available, because I don't know anyone who can afford £400 for a taxi ride to London from Swindon. But buses, I think what I see is access for everyone. Obviously with the Doug Paulley case, we put it down as a partial victory, as I'm sure everyone would in this room, because it's great that it was recognised that this is an issue, but it's putting responsibility on the driver. Again, I just don't think that's fair. So I think redesigning buses so that they can take into account every single person that needs to get on that bus, which may seem a bit crazy, but I have taken buses outside of the UK, especially around Europe, where they're basically open plan buses with very few seats, which will mean that we have to account for the old people who need seats, or people who are so ambulant but need seats, but it's doable. And I think just looking at things, they're such simple things like the wheelchair ramp buttons. They're often placed in really, really stupid places where not many people can reach them. I certainly can't. My reach is very limited, and I have a lot of people who have quite severe muscle wasting conditions, and there's no way they can get to them. So my buses would have touch-sensitive buttons, which actually existed on TfL buses on 2 routes for a while, and they've got rid of them. And I'm very curious to know why. Maybe TfL can explain that a bit later, but I think it's a really negative step forward, because I knew when I used to take a certain bus ride that whatever happened, I could always hit that ramp button, always get off the bus. And now I can't do that. So it comes back to things, again, about having to rely on people to notice that I'm going to get off the bus. So yeah, that would be my buses. I think they're such a difficult thing because everyone has such different needs, but yes, accommodating every single person would just be amazing. And I think I can't really stand on the stage or sit on the stage without mentioning air travel if I'm looking to the future. As I work with a lot of people who have very severe physical disabilities, they just can't fly. It's just a no-go. They can't get out of their wheelchairs, they can't be comfortable on a normal seat, they can't go to the toilet. So this is my dream, and it's probably never going to happen in my lifetime, but I hope for the people coming through, they will experience it, where they can just stay in their wheelchairs on a plane, because that would literally revolutionize the world. And if it happened in my lifetime, I think I'd be running away for at least a year and traveling to all the places that I just don't think is possible right now. But I have been told by many people in the aviation industry that it's a pipe dream and it's probably not going to happen. And I get it for safety reasons, but I can't be up here and not have that's my little dream of one day going to my local airport of Gatwick and just hopping on a plane like anyone else and getting locked down and traveling to wherever I wanted to go to on that day. So there's obviously a lot of other transport methods that I could talk about. The tube is great. I remember coming to London once I first moved here, or just before, attempting the tube. And I think I got on the Jubilee line, I imagine so, because it's probably the safest choice. And I went down the lift, and I was so surprised I could just drive on. It was this most liberating feeling of just not having to ask anyone for help and just hopping on and just sitting, I think I'd probably block the doorways, but that's life. And then getting off at my following stop, and just, it was all flat. I remember thinking, if this is the way transport is going, then it's literally going to change not only my life, but every other person in London who has mobility difficulties. And then I had an experience where I took a friend who is also a wheelchair user on the Jubilee line thinking, I have to show them this amazing, amazing thing because they're going to be blown away. And what I didn't realise is the gap is quite large on some stations, and I just ram my chair up it and just fly, basically. Not everyone could do that. So he was disappointed because he couldn't get on the tube, and I thought, for me, the tube, well, that one particular line and that one particular station is perfect, but it isn't for everyone, and it's so easy to get blindsided by the fact that, oh, it's level, so it's all good, anyone can use it. But you've got to take into account so many other different issues. But yeah, the tube, I just want to see level access at all stations, or at least raised platforms. If not, just ramps would be nice. And then looking to the future, things like escalators. I know in Japan they have escalators where you can actually take your wheelchair on them. And that would just solve so many problems in the London transport system and across the UK. Now, you may have issues with commuters trying to barge past you, and there may be a few safety issues, but I'm sure we can teach people to actually be patient and they can wait for 30 seconds. But that would just be the most incredible innovation because stations in London just aren't set up to have lifts and everything like that, but they often have escalators, and we should be looking for technology that already exists in other parts of the world to look at how that can fix the UK transport system. And I haven't even mentioned taxis because I don't know where to begin because every one of these are just so different. For me, I'm just relieved that I can get in every black cab in London. Maybe not so safely. You do have to sit sideways. I know a lot of people that I know just won't use them because they're just too scared. I've had friends that have hit their head in the glass partition because the drivers have just braked too suddenly. So I get it, but I can't touch taxis because I just don't know. Maybe we'll see them as autonomous vehicles with no driver that drive like a lunatic on street corners. But I guess my main point is the fact that, like everyone in this room, I, like many other people, want to travel spontaneously and autonomously. And right now, we're not set up for that. And I think we're actually taking steps backward. If we look at Southern Rail, again, sorry about this, but they're taking away the turn up and go system. So my station was one of the stations that they can guarantee assistance onto a train, whatever time of the day, whenever it was open. And that's now gone. There's a very big sign up in the window saying, if you have not booked assistance, we may not be able to get you on. And this happened recently. So I arrived and the booking office was closed. There was not a single member of staff anywhere to be seen. And then very weirdly, this announcement came over the tannoy saying, if you require a ramp, please press the help button. And I was like, this is very odd. Someone's watching me, a bit Big Brother style. But I pressed the input button and they went, oh, yes, there's no one there. So just deal with it, basically. Luckily, the train that pulled in had an OBS on it, and I think he was an old guard because I recognized him, because he quickly went and got the ramp for me from the cupboard on the train. But if he hadn't been on there, if it was a DRO train, I was stuck on that platform, late for work, which happens often now. So yeah, spontaneity and autonomousness travel is what I want to see in the future, because it's what everyone in this room has that hasn't got a disability, and that's what I want to see. That is my main point, just looking at technology, looking at ways to improve things so that I and every other person with mobility difficulties has the same experience that you have when you do your morning commute. And that's all I want to say. Thank you.